Chris Uhlmann's documentary that aired on Sky News last night, The Real Cost of Net Zero, highlighted how expensive and unreliable a majority solar and wind-powered grid could be. Power bills keep rising. Is the Australian public being misled about the true cost of a majority renewables grid?
No, renewable energy is the cheapest form of energy in the world today. And that's why wherever you go in terms of developed countries right around the world, be it North America, Europe, you are seeing countries pursue renewable technologies within their grid, firmed renewable technologies, to help in the transition to the path of zero net emissions. And we also know the cost to the globe if we don't do that, and the cost to the Australian economy. But let's be clear, this is the way the world is moving. Transitioning our own economy is an important contribution that Australia can make. But more significantly than that, it's utterly essential in terms of our own prosperity and our own technology. There are jobs to be had here in this transition. This is not only the pathway to zero net emissions, it is the pathway to modernity, it is the pathway to having greater technology within our economy and within our industry and having more high-tech jobs. And so this is what is in Australia's national interest. We're doing this right now. We've seen a 25% increase in renewables in our grid today. The nuclear path that Peter Dutton is suggesting, given that we are starting from scratch, we don't have a civil nuclear industry, is not going to bring on power for 2 decades. So it's not going to make any meaningful contribution to the pathway to zero net emissions, and it will just cost Australian households a lot more money.
Now that the Coalition is not supporting your international student caps, would you be willing to change Migration Direction 107?
Well, I mean, firstly, what we have seen here with the Coalition and the Greens is genuinely astonishing. I mean, your audience should understand the Coalition and the Greens, the Liberals and the Greens, are now working together on immigration policy, as they are in terms of stopping the building of housing in Australia. They are now working together on immigration policy. Wherever they can find an opportunity to work together in Parliament House, that's what they're doing. And so, if you're out there and you vote Liberal, or in fact, if you vote Green, right here in Canberra, you're effectively voting for the same team. That's what we learned today, and that's what we've learned over the last couple of days. We need to be managing our immigration intake. We've had a significant immigration spike in the aftermath of the pandemic. We want to bring it down to the normal levels which existed prior to the pandemic. You can't do that unless you manage the intake of international students, because that is a huge component of those people who are coming to the country. And so all we are trying to do is manage that in a responsible way by pursuing international student caps. And we understand the importance of international education, but it is also really important that we are managing our immigration so that we have the right amount of housing here, that we're not putting pressure on our infrastructure. And that's what we are doing in terms of managing this with international student caps. The Liberals have completely abandoned anything they believe in. When the Leader of the Opposition said he would do this in his budget reply, but now he's about wrecking, and he's about wrecking the country with the Greens.
A new report highlights that overseas cyber criminals and scammers increasingly are targeting Australians. The average cost of cybercrime for individuals has risen 17% to over $30,000, and it's the fastest growing threat to Australians. That is not good, is it?
It's not, and it is a real and present threat that we are facing right now. We get a report to the Australian Signals Directorate, which is the agency that deals with this, once every 6 minutes. As you said, the cost of each of these attacks is going up, 17% for individuals, 8% for small businesses, and really worryingly, we're seeing an increased focus by cyber criminals and state actors on our critical infrastructure. So this is something that we need to be dealing with. The government has pretty well been doubling the size of the Australian Signals Directorate over a period of 5 years. We really see this as a focus. But today the message for businesses out there is you need to be making sure that you understand what IT systems you have in your business. That might seem obvious, but lots don't, and a legacy system can be, in fact, the back door for a cyber criminal to get into your business. It's really important that you keep abreast of your cyber defences. This is not a set and forget issue here. There's an evolving threat and you need to evolve with it. And it's really important that you work with ASD. They're a national asset, they are the experts, and they can help.
Okay. Acting Prime Minister Richard Marles, really appreciate your time this morning. Thanks for coming on the program.